Road for an executive in tech consultancy can be pretty sexy, sure, but pretty lonely too. Most of the women I meet are the female me, and that's horrible. Carving out these solitary existences, we pass like ships in the night. If ships in the night stop to refuel with anonymous sex in the car park on Oxford services. I barely feel the shame now when I go into the Wild Bean Cafe at 1 a.m. for wet wipes and johnnies. You're the exotic erotic stranger, the man no woman can ever truly know, truly tame, like Don Draper, but played by someone who looks more like Shane Ritchie. I'll walk you through it. There's a pretty smiling face. You perch on the edge of a desk. You break the ice by asking if they're on LinkedIn. They've heard of LinkedIn. Sure, they get the bleeding emails every day. We all do. Even when you're on LinkedIn, they never stop. They've heard of LinkedIn, but they're scared of LinkedIn. They're scared of what they haven't experienced. Scared but excited at trying something new with LinkedIn. Now, am I talking about LinkedIn, or am I now talking about boning? Exactly. The game has begun. So you crank up your sexting game. You open with the eggplant emoji next to the picture of a peach and a question mark. The textbook combo of a rooster, cock, and a cat, pussy, ping back in return. Oh, it's silly, sexy fun. But how old are we? Actually, true story. One time, this woman sent me a really long message with the emoji of the dancing Spanish lady, flames, the fist emoji in all of the different skin tones, the one of the Munch screen painting, a hypodermic needle, the one of a sweet elderly couple, and then a tombstone. I was fucking terrified. Turned out she just sat on her phone. I lost my virginity to a glamorous older woman and actual gypsy, Carmen Carmina. 60 years old, but she could have passed for 70. She used to play her music on a Friday night in the snug, and all the old folks, they'd dance a jig. She was able to mimic the sounds of an entire orchestra with just a mouth. Huge talent. Lot of spit, but huge talent. On the right day, if you looked at her from a distance, squinted, and imagined everything tilted about 45 degrees to the right, she could have been a latter years Greta Garbo. Gorgeous olive skin, thick black curls, and piercing blue glass eye. Which meant when her eyes would roll back in ecstasy, one would stay up there for the rest of the night. It was a lovely touch. Oh, to be 12 years old again, and smell the waft of her pipe tobacco and hear the soft lilt of a violent croup cough as she hobbled towards me. She was a free spirit, and mad as a bastard. As for crazy Carmen, always with a song and that carpet bag full of old rocks which she'd drawn faces on, she was a life inspiration to me too. Never be dull, don't get tied down. But hey, her restless romantic solitude, it turned out to be the death of her. Well, the actual death of her was being attacked by a pack of wild dogs on the playing fields. Apparently, she bravely but foolishly volunteered to try and tame them by singing them a sea shanty. But I've no doubt that her final performance was her most beautiful of all. Or just horrible screaming. We're chatting post-conference over a few stiff sea breezes, and she leans in and whispers to me that she wants me to take her on the back seat of my car. Say no more, ma chérie. We head out to the car park, and I lie across the heated leather seats of my 2012 Audi A6, gunmetal grey, CD changer, colour match bumpers, and I go to brush off the pasty crumbs, explaining it was a detritus from an Edinburgh to Birmingham night drive only 2 days before. She says, leave it. She says she likes it. She says it's like being dragged back to my cave, and the pasty crumbs are like the scattered bones of my prey. Okay. She tells me to put on some dirty, sexy music. CD6 is selected. George Michael's Ladies and Gentlemen, Disc 2, the ballad disc. It's a live version of A Different Corner that he performed sitting on a really tall bar stool on Parky one time. The sweet, poppy love heartbreak of the 80s Wham original is now given a melancholic, darker edge as it's sung by the artist as an older man who's seen more extreme public sex acts than he ever thought he would. So, perfect for a session of dashed innocence and shagging in the back of an Audi. They like to take charge, these sex-positive younger women, and you should have heard the language coming out of her mouth. French, Latin, bit of Japanese even. She was as learned as she was depraved. We are going at it, and I am really giving it beans. And she screams at me, she wants me to properly choke her up, she says. So, I tell the story of when Maxie, my beagle, died. She didn't cry, but I was in floods. The multiple orgasms she had when I got to the bit where I was told Maxie would have to be put down gave me a confusing sense of achievement. Her strangling me didn't help much either. But the interesting thing is, just before I blacked out, I had a thought I'd never had before. Suddenly, I just wanted sexy women, sexy George Michael tracks, and sex in general to have never existed. Now, don't get me wrong, I know we're all the architect of our own designs, but at times I feel like my head is like a balloon full of creamy porn, and I hate it. I want to pop that balloon. We'd gaze at the wonder of the setting sun, and we'd taste together, if but for a moment, the eternal, serenaded by the sound of Norfolk sea lions singing their sweet, lilting song. Do-do-do-do-do. Hang on, sorry, did I just do Close Encounters? I don't know what they'd actually sound like. Probably pretty rough. Don't they sound like a dog bringing up a bone the whole time, sort of? Sound of the breeze, serenaded by the sound of the breeze. We'd lie there and we'd hold each other so close, you'd swear we shared a heartbeat. Then before you know it, we'd be going at it like ruddy beasts. You know, proper hammer and tongue, matching waterproof kecks around our ankles and that ancient Norfolk breeze blowing right up my bumhole. There you go. You never heard that answer on Blind Date, did you?
Question 5. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
That's an excellent question. You should have opened with that. It's a good icebreaker. A bull. Yeah, I'm pretty bullish. I mean, I look like a bull, stocky, sort of. A bull, but with the heart of a cute little puppy. That's me. I mean, if a bull actually had the heart of a cute puppy, he'd die because he wouldn't be able to pump the blood around his body. That's a horrible thought. Someone's probably done that, haven't they? The Nazis, they committed every sort of atrocity, didn't they? Don't know. Maybe they started with farm stock in the Hitler Youth. Hey lads, get a bull, put in a puppy heart, just see what would happen. You blow up a paper bag and pop it, it would just die, wouldn't it, from the shock?